When you're emotionally depleted, most oftentimes your nervous system is focused on just basic regulation. So like, what do I need to like stay safe, stay sane in this moment? And it's not really focused on self-reflection or growth. Self-love is difficult when you're emotionally tired because there's a little term we call compassion fatigue. Essentially, when you're emotionally fatigued or have compassion fatigue, your internal capacity is reduced significantly. When you're in that like fatigued place emotionally, you actually shift into survival mode. So there's this, I mean, you all have heard it, but fight or flight. You are basically gearing up for some war. You think that your day-to-day life is a tiger chasing you. And so when your brain is in that kind of mode, it's very difficult for you to think about anything other than just trying to get outside of that. I would say probably another thing is that when you're emotionally tired, you criticize yourself more readily. Self criticism is a thing that I think a lot of us do a lot of times, but specifically when we're under stress, it activates that because we are stressed. Some of us with the compassion fatigue or emotional fatigue, we are actually confusing our need for rest with weakness. That's a common theme that I see in a lot of women, especially, is they're like, I do want to just rest. I do want to just take a break. And I can't because I feel like I'm letting somebody down. And so I have to keep pushing through. And that's where we also start to see where we're getting into this inability to regulate because we are emotionally exhausted. So nobody is thinking about self love in that moment. It feels very far off in the distance when you are just trying to regulate your emotions and survive. Negative self talk is really, really common when you are at a place of emotional fatigue. One of the main reasons is that we don't have the ability to yield ourselves to gratitude, nuance, long term thinking, because again, we are in that fight or flight mode or just trying to survive. Also, we notice that in emotional fatigue, attachment patterns resurface. When an attachment pattern resurfaces, somebody might really give themselves grief because they're trying to belong or stay connected or fall. They find themselves falling into those old roles where they were caretaking, over functioning, and all of that. And if for some reason their emotional fatigue doesn't allow them to be able to perform exactly the way they used to, they will tend to really get negative on themselves and say that they're not doing the right things, that they're not enough. I mean, just all kinds of unkind things that, I even have had experience saying to myself. And I think that what people have to be understanding of is that you are asking a tired nervous system to do advanced work, which is you are asking your nervous system that is already tired to go above and beyond and not only regulate itself, but then also go back into the place of regulating other people and other situations. And that is where you start getting into that negativity of feeling like you're not enough, imposter syndrome, and all of that. Most of that starts with emotional and compassion fatigue. You really have to ask yourself like a real simple question. Like, if you just stopped when you're having negative self talk and you say, take a pause, breathe, get quiet, and say, what do I really need right now? Like, do I need sleep? Do I need water? Do I need food? Do I need a hug? Do I need to have a conversation with a friend? I remember, like, I got, when I first started school, it was really intense starting. And I was so tired. I was just to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, why did I sign up for this coaching program? This is wild. Like, I don't even know how I can do this and still be a mom and still be a wife. And I could barely keep my eyes open even as I was driving. I just remember, and I pulled up in my driveway and I said, okay, I was giving myself a bunch of shit, honestly, and about how I just wasn't showing up, and oh my gosh, I'm not going to be the wife that I want to be, and I'm not going to be able to be the mom and that I want to be, and I just, had no capacity for anything because of how much brain power I was giving over to my schooling. And I literally stopped in the driveway as I put the brake on, and I asked myself, Akia, what do you need in this moment? Because the reality of it is that you're not a shit mom. You're not a shit wife. You're an excellent mom. You're an excellent wife. You're an excellent student. And you're going to be an amazing coach. But like right now, you're tired. So what do you need? And I took a breath, maybe two, and I sat back before I even pulled in the garage and I said, I need food because I'm hungry. And I can't think straight when I haven't eaten. I need sleep. And I need quiet time before I go to sleep. Those are the three things I need. And so, parked my car. I cashed out my kids money for DoorDash. I got rid of the shoulds about cooking dinner, them having something healthy. And I literally went upstairs, took a shower with a shower steamer, went downstairs, made some soup for myself, came back upstairs to my room, watched some TV, and went right to sleep. It's all about attunement and then being able to silence that language that comes from this, pattern of being attached to a role that you never signed up for. And then what do you do with that information? You attune to yourself, and then you take that information and you act upon it. And you do what you need in that moment. And it works wonders. In short, if I had to kind of wrap a little bow around the whole self-love conversation as it pertains to emotional fatigue, I tell you to do these 5 things. Pause, breathe, ask, what I need, what do I want in this moment, attune to whatever that is, and act. A powerful reframe for the concept of self-love is understanding that self-love is not just a feeling. It is a regulated nervous system skill. So you cannot even tap into a place of self-love from an unregulated nervous system. You have to regulate your nervous system first, which is and can be considered an act of self-love and getting yourself there. But you won't attain that place of really getting into self-love until you completely regulate your nervous system. I'm Akia Red. If this work resonates with you, follow me for more inspirational tips on Instagram. Subscribe to me on Substack.